So I don't tell part 6 what to do if it doesn't work. This is all well and good, but what if you have a patient who doesn't feel a difference? Or what do you do if you do the adjustment and you don't feel a change? So we've been talking on this video series about the importance of having patients feel what's going on in their body and feel the difference afterwards, and why you should be showing that multiple times. Essentially what we're doing here is we're trying to improve patients' interoception. We're trying to improve that brain-body connection, their ability to feel kinesthetically what's going on in their own body. It's very, very important for their long-term MSK health. It also makes things like rehab way more effective because they will start to get the movements quicker. What we're training them to do is to pay attention and really learn to interpret their own body signals there. And it's really, really important. However, you will have patients who can't do it yet. I will have patients where I'll sit them down, like I said, I'll do the assessment and I'll feel an area that is jammed up and I'll say, do you feel that? And they'll go, no. Like, what should I feel? And then I'll go, okay, like we talked about, go up to an area that's moving well and go, do you feel how that springs? And they go, yeah. I go, right, do you feel that? And they're still going, no. Like, should it feel different? Now, when you get that, that tells me this is somebody whose interoception is pretty low. Their body awareness is pretty low. And I don't then panic. I don't think, oh, this doesn't work. I just then explain to them what's going on and explain that this is something that I want them to be feeling and I want to get them to that point. So I'll say, okay, here's what I'm feeling. When I press there, I don't feel it moving. Whereas when I press up there, I feel some spring. So I feel a difference between these two. I'll then come around and I'll grab my model and go, let me show you. Because right now they can't feel it. We have to rely on the verbal and the visual. We have to rely on the more cognitive things there. So I'll get my model and say, what I'm doing when I go up and down is I'm basically pressing on these parts and I'm just feeling for, is there a little bit of wiggle? If there's some wiggle in there, I know these little facet joints at the back that we'll have talked about before. I know that those are moving. So when I go up your spine, I'm feeling it moving, I'm feeling it moving. When I get around to this area and I come back around and I put my hand on the area that's stiff, when I press there, it doesn't move. And that tells me these joints are locked. That tells me the muscles there aren't working. That could be affecting the nerves as well. So that's important to get freed up. And again, I'll link it back to whatever their goal was, whatever their symptoms are as well. And I just say, look, the fact you can't feel it right now is fine. That means the brain isn't paying attention to that area. It means your nerves that connect the brain to that point aren't really functioning well. That should improve as we get it moving. So over time, you should start feeling the difference between those. But right now, that's what I'm feeling. So I'm not panicking. I'm not worrying. I'm not thinking, oh, this doesn't work. I'm just going, okay, we don't have the kinesthetic awareness yet. That's okay. And over time, as we adjust that and we restore function in that area, you will see patients will start to feel it more. Some quicker than others. Some will feel it to a greater degree than others. But I don't panic. I just let them know, right, the fact that you can't feel that is also information. And that's something that we want to see improve. So if you have a patient who just can't feel the difference, that doesn't mean ignore it. That doesn't mean you panic. And it doesn't mean you go into loads of justification or something like that. You don't find something to prove it. I just explain to them, here's what I'm feeling and here's what that means. And over time, I want you to feel it as well. And then every time we're doing that, we're just retraining that interoception. We get the area moving. And then by rechecking it, this time, I'm just trying to wake up the proprioceptive pathways. Maybe they don't feel the difference right away. Sometimes they might go, oh, even after the adjustment, oh, it feels about the same. And again, that's fine. I'm feeling it moving a lot better. That tells me things are starting to work. Over time, we're going to get the brain paying more attention. We're going to get it to interpret those signals better as well. So that's one thing you can do if they don't feel a difference there. The other thing sometimes, particularly newer practitioners go, and they get worried about this is, what if it doesn't work? Like, what if I adjust them, I sit them back up, and it's still not moving? And the answer to that is simple. Do it again. Like if you wanted to get that area moving and that was the point of your adjustment and you retry it and it hasn't worked, do the adjustment again. This is where I prefer motion palpation to muscle testing, because muscle testing practitioners will tend to assume the adjustment worked on that segment. And if it's still weak, they'll go, okay, that's not necessarily it. Now, I know that's not true for all. I haven't studied a lot of muscle testing, but in my experience, I haven't seen many muscle testing practitioners go and readjust a segment more than once. Sometimes you felt some big clicks and they went, oh, something moved. You sit them back up. It was coming from adjacent segments. So I will quite regularly go and adjust a segment more than once because I didn't get the movement I got in there. I might change the technique. If I was adjusting prone thoracics, I might do an anterior. If I was adjusting lateral into the cervicals, I might do a bit more rotation. For lumbars, I might vary the position as well. So you may well change the angle and change the plane you're adjusting in. A little pro tip, clear all the planes if you can. If they're restricted in multiple directions, You'll get better results if you free up all of those, and that might take 3, 4, maybe 5 adjustments there. But that's an aside there. But you want to go back and redo it again, do it a little differently. Now, if it's been 3 adjustments, I've had 3 attempts and I can't get it moving, I sit them back up and go, okay, that's still not moving how I'd like. I'm not going to go to war with that joint. If we keep hammering at it, we're probably just going to flare it up. So I'm going to give you some things to do in the meantime. We're going to focus on the other areas and we'll recheck it next time. Sometimes it takes a few sessions to get it moving. Now, the thought process here, by the way, what's going on under the hood for me is I don't have a plan for everything that's going to happen that visit. But what I am doing is I'm just thinking one step ahead. So if I have this like L5 is restricted on S1 and I want to adjust that, all I have to know in my head is, okay, I'm going to adjust this. If it works, what am I going to do? I'm going to move on to the next thing. If it doesn't work, what am I going to do? Well, I'll try it again. And then if it's the third one, if it doesn't work, what do? I'm going to explain to the patient why we're not going to keep going at that, and we're going to do something else. So all you have to do is be thinking one step ahead. If you've thought one step ahead and you just know that whatever happens to this next thing I'm going to do, I know what I'll do next, you can problem solve your way through the visit. You don't have to think, what if that doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and that doesn't work. Work it out as you go, because as the patient's moving around the bench, you can think things through a little bit. You can have ideas as well. You can sit up and then spend some time reassessing whilst you're always thinking what's going on. So you don't have to have it planned, but if the patient can see that you've thought through, this is what we'll do if this works, this is what we'll do if it doesn't, then they know they're in the hands of somebody who really knows what they're doing. It's just like if you're recommending a few visits at the start of care and you're going to reassess after, say, 6 visits or whatever it might be. And you go, okay, if it's going well, that's great. We'll continue on the plan. If for any reason it's not, then we'll make a change. And I don't even have to tell my patient at the start of care what that change is, because I don't necessarily know. It depends on how they respond. But if they know that when we get to that 6th visit, no matter what's happening, I will know what to do next, they'll feel like they're in great hands. I don't have to think multiple steps ahead at the time. So all you need to do is think that one step ahead there, and that will make it a lot easier. And if you have a patient who isn't feeling it, that's okay. You just tell them that they're not. You tell them what that means and explain how over time we will see that improve. So give those a try. If you're stuck with anything else on this, do let me know. This is the last video in this series. I've really enjoyed teaching this stuff because I've been teaching this for a lot of my associates and other mentees for quite a while now. And the difference it makes when patients start feeling what you're doing and they feel the benefit. You don't have to give them big, long explanations. You don't have to be trying to justify it all the time and trying to convince patients. You'll find patients naturally get it. They feel the difference, they appreciate it, and they value your care so much more. And trust me, they'll start referring people in and saying to them, yeah, even if you think it's okay, see Chris because there might be a problem. And I sometimes go in and feel like I'm all right. And then he makes me realize, oh, that is still irritated there. So do this stuff. Go back and watch these videos multiple times if you have to. Just focus on one at a time. Implement it, try it in practice, come back, watch the next one. It's fine to review this more than once. But if you can do it, trust me, your patients will value you so much more. You'll get much better results because you'll really get them excited and you'll get them feeling more hopeful. And we know that improves outcomes. Best of all, practice becomes so much more fun and fulfilling. I have more fun in practice every day now than at any point in the last 15 years. I feel so bad when I see practitioners getting a bit bored and jaded because it doesn't have to be this way. And all I can tell you is this show don't tell is one of the biggest ways that I've found to love what I do even more every day. So give that a try. As always, any questions on any of this, if you get stuck, if you're not sure, drop me a message, drop me an email. I'd love to help out. Otherwise, I'll see you soon for some other videos.